So this is the welcome everybody, and thank you for coming to the Steyning Parish Council Personnel Committee on this, the 24th of February 2021. John, can I get you to read out the GDPR, please?
Certainly. GDPR notice for the purposes of the recording. Please note that the council is, and members of the public and individual councillors could be, making audio or video recordings of this meeting. The council's recordings will be uploaded to a cloud-based website of record and will be available indefinitely to the general public. By participating at the meeting, including by merely logging into it, you consent to this. If you do not consent to these terms, you should please not log into the meeting. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Okay, so apologies for absence. Are we going to note Steve as given apologies?
Yeah,
Yes.
I'll write that down.
Yes, Chair. Yeah, Steve has apologised. He's been taken poorly. He suggested he might attend, but I would imagine because he's not here promptly, that isn't going to be the case.
Okay. All right, thank you very much. Do we have any declarations of interest? No? Okay. So item number 3, questions from the floor. Paul.
Thank you, Chris. It was just a very short one, which is that through you, I'd just like to ask John when the notice of this meeting was put on the website, because as far as I could tell, it wasn't put on as of last night. And I've noticed there's no members of the public here, and I'm just wondering how we think we're going to properly engage with the public if our meetings are not properly publicised. I mean, apart from anything else, as far as I'm aware, the schedule of meetings hasn't been updated, so people simply can't tell that there's a meeting today, as far as I can see.
Yeah, John, please do.
Well, Chris had, Hazel had her hand up first.
Okay, sorry.
I did put the meeting up on Friday, but I think I forgot to save it, and I put it up again on Monday evening.
Right, so in effect, it didn't go up until Monday evening.
No, that's correct.
So the public.
Well, it's been up on the notice board, and it's been in the window at the office as well.
Right, when did it go up on the notice board? Was that within the 3 working days?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. Right, okay, thank you, that was all.
Okay.
Thanks very much.
Okay. Right, yeah, John.
Yeah, thank you, Paul. Just also to say, Personnel Committee isn't necessarily on the meeting schedule anyway, because it's not a standard committee, so that wouldn't have come up. But yes, as per what Hazel said.
Well, so can I just briefly come back on that? Because if it's not going to be on the meeting schedule, isn't it even more important that we make sure that it's adequately publicised so that the public knows that this committee is meeting?
Yeah.
All of you frozen?
No, I'm.
No.
I am. Whether you as chair wanted to add anything, but otherwise I'll mute myself again. Thank you. So the answer is no. Yeah.
No. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. We ought to publicise as much as we can. It went out on notice board and window, as Hazel said, on the same evening as it went out to councillors.
My fault for the website completely, but I didn't realise I hadn't saved it.
Yeah, so we will, keep attempting to do that as much as we can.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, John. Tim.
Chair, I think the key point here is it went up on the notice board, I understand, and it went up on in the Steyning Centre. So it was an error, unfortunately, and these things happen. So I think we should move on.
Yeah, thank you, Tim. Can we go on to item number 4, minutes of the previous meeting, to approve them as a true and fair record. So the agenda minutes were for the 27th of January 2021, which you should all have received a copy. Anybody have any comments on them?
No, I think
No amendments?
no.
Okay, well, I'd like to propose that we agree them.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Simon, and all those in favour.
Okay, thank you all.
Right, now I believe moving on, we're going to move on to agenda item 6 to discuss certainly the first 3 items in open session. Tim?
Yeah, I think as a point of order, that you should perhaps, for the public recording, say that you're going to bring items 6.1 to 6.3 forward into open session.
Okay, I will do that. So I propose that we bring item 6.1 to 6.3 into open session to discuss. And can I have a seconder for that then, please?
You don't need one, Chris.
No, you don't need to
Oh,
propose
I
it.
don't.
Just
Okay.
just
Okay.
need to formally bring it forward.
Okay. Well, I have formally brought it forward then.
Thank you, Chair.
So, can we go to 6.1 to discuss and agree to recommend time allocated items on the SPC agendas when appropriate to do so. So I'll open that out for discussion. Thanks, Tim. Do you want to start?
Well, it's a difficult one to do, I have to say, in view of our meetings. But the fact that we're not getting through some of these meetings, they are getting better as we move forward. But it may be quite a good idea to try to limit the amount of time, whether that needs to be official or more down to the chairs to sort of set their own program. I'm open-minded about it, in the sense that you know, bringing a particular conversation to an end as quickly as possible. We do it in Horsham to a degree. Some are better at it than others, and I guess we've just got to find the best way for each chair to manage the meeting, but timing is quite a good idea. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Tim. Joanna?
Just to say that I think it's an excellent idea. It's a practice that is used quite a lot where I've worked in various different public sector organisations. It's quite common to have a time allocation for an agenda item. It doesn't have to be stuck to absolutely rigidly, obviously. So if you allocate 15 minutes and you take 60, nobody's going to get terribly exercised about it. But I think it's a good framework, and it gives people an idea. And I think it probably, I would suggest that it comes down to the individual chairs and John, when the agenda is being constructed, to come up with what they think, because obviously different items are going to need different lengths of time.
Yeah.
Also, I would say that given that we do have standing orders that are quite clear about how long people should speak on each item and how frequently, if we have a full council, there's 15 councillors, so no item should ever need more than 30 minutes, and most would need appreciably less. So we've got we already have a rough idea of the sort of time scales we want. So my very long-winded way of saying I think it's a great idea.
Thanks, Joanna. But you're right. I mean, some items will merit more just length of discussion than others, and I think that it could well be done when the agenda's set,
yeah.
With the clerk for the individual chairs. Simon?
I also think it's a really good idea, but I think if we are going down these lines, we really must adhere to standing orders. So it is 2 minutes and speak once, that's it. Otherwise, if some councillors were to speak more than once or for longer than 2 minutes, it's effectively taking away the ability for another councillor to talk.
Thank you, Simon. Deborah, do you want to add anything to?
Not terribly. I mean, I've been to many meetings in the past when the items are timed, and it was very effective actually, because it makes you keep your contribution short and to the point, and not repeat what other people have said, and that sort of thing. Yeah.
Thank you. Tim?
Yes, thank you, Chair. In Horsham, we stick to this once only a member talking only once on a subject. Obviously, it's at the discretion of the chair, and if they really do have something to add to the conversation, then obviously it's up to the chair as to whether they come through. And by and large, I have to be honest, everybody sticks to it. Very, very, very few tend to break the rules, and if they do put their hands up, it very often is a pertinent thing that they need to add to the debate. But I think, to be fair and to be frank, if we can do it at Horsham, we can certainly do it here.
Thank you. I mean, I get a bit unsure when there's a right of reply and when there isn't. So, oh, John, sorry.
That's okay. I was just actually going to ask Tim, in terms of how it's rolled out at Horsham. I was just wondering how prescriptive it was and to what degree it was guidance, and whether it was actually adjoined to the agenda or it was given as a separate document just internally so that you'd be aware.
Oh, yeah, thanks, Tim.
No, it is put down, and as I say, it's still at the discretion of the chair. But as to the right of reply, again, it's at the discretion of the chair. If there is a councillor brings up a particular subject and somebody is really commenting on that to the point as they're overturning it, then it would be up to the chair as to whether they allowed that person to perhaps to strengthen their case or to even to reiterate it. So it becomes very much a chairman's prerogative, but I always think that it's good that a person has a right of reply, providing that right of reply is not grandstanding, but is actually contributing to the debate.
Okay, thank you. So we're minded, it feels like, to recommend to full council that we have a flexible approach to timed agenda items. Would that be right?
I think so. I think it's set by the chair of the meeting when they do the agenda.
Okay, so we don't have...
Can I just ask something? Can I just come in there, Chair? Are we intending to actually have this printed on the agenda? Is that what we're thinking of doing?
That's what I would do, yes.
Okay, well, as long as we know, then we can recommend that to council.
Yeah, so it's public at the point. But I'm just thinking that the time allocated to agenda items is set by the chair of that particular meeting and the clerk in conjunction with the clerk. I think they need to do it together.
Okay, so that will do as a proposal, won't it? If we could add, no?
Yes, well, no, as the recommendation is that we will allocate times to agenda items, and these will be printed on the agenda.
But we have, if we're recommending it,
yes,
we have to agree it formally.
Yes, we do.
We have to
agree the.
Yeah, well, I was going to use Joanna's wording there. I'd quite like the word flexible in it, if that's possible. Okay. John, did you get what Joanna said? It was
Hopefully Hazel has. She's doing the minutes for this one.
Hazel, can you read back what you've written?
What I've got so far was to recommend to full council a flexible approach to a timed agenda to be printed on the agenda.
Well, that sounds fine to me.
Sounds good.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, absolutely.
I'd perhaps finish it with set by the chair and clerk.
Well, I suppose in some senses you don't need to, because the agenda is always set by the clerk.
Of course it is. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm happy to propose or second either.
I've got you down as seconding.
Okay. Yep. And you've got me down as proposing.
Yep.
So
all those in favour?
Unanimous. Thank you very much.
Quick and simple.
Okay, then. 6.2, which is sort of goes a little bit with 6.1, I think, because I know in the working party we talked about knowing how many people wanted to talk to a particular agenda item. Tim?
Oh, sorry, no, I'm only holding it up so that you know if
Okay.
if you're finished, then I'll talk. But otherwise, sorry, I wasn't trying to interrupt you.
Okay. Yeah. So we just to get an idea of how many people would like to speak to an item. We discussed the possible use of the hand signals on the virtual screen, so that the chair and the clerk quickly see how many hands there were and divide them into the number of minutes allowed or flexibly allowed. So yes, I was setting the background. Tim.
Thank you, Chair. Just for public consumption in a way, we use this the whole time at Horsham. It works very well because as the chair of a committee, you can look at the participants, and the participants who raise their hand automatically come to the top of the participants table. So you can sit quite comfortably as a chair where you can't see the whole screen, which I can't. I think a maximum is it 16 on there. So when we have a full council plus members of the public, I don't always see everybody, and it's a very, very good way of doing it. And then whoever is acting as a host can lower the hand if the person forgets to lower it. But it gives you a chance to say, well, I'm going to take 5 questions. I've got councillors, blah, 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 blah. And after that, we will go to a vote. So it's I promise you, it's a very effective way of using it once you get going, once you understand it.
Yeah, thank you, Tim. Joanna.
It's more a typical case of user error. The risk of asking a stupid question. How do we get the hand symbol up? Because I don't know how to do that.
Well, if you go to your participants, I don't know what you're using. I'm on a laptop.
Yeah, I'm on a laptop. Yeah.
If you're on a laptop and you go to the participants and click on that, at the bottom right-hand corner, if it's the same layout as mine, there's a raise hand. You press that, and up comes.
Oh, I see.
There's an even easier way than that, actually, guys. If you look on the bottom of your screen where it says mute, stop video participants, you should have a reactions emblem
on
the right. If you click that, and it says lower hand or raise hand, and we can raise and lower hands very quickly.
Oh, I've got thumbs and clapping and things, but okay.
The one underneath, right underneath, it should say a big bar that says raise hand or lower hand.
Yeah, well, whichever way you want to do it.
Okay, no, that's lovely. Oh, thank you. Yeah. So it was just really a question of me not knowing how to use the technology,
well,
Chris.
I think we'll need to do a bit of education. Maybe it might be a good idea to have a team meeting to go through it, but if not, we could do it live, maybe 10 minutes before we have our next council meeting, so that we can show people how to do it, maybe 10 to 15 minutes. And I promise you, it is a much simpler way of doing it.
Yep, it's great. Now I know how to do it. It sounds like a really good idea to me. So.
Now you can learn how to lower your hand, Joanna.
Yeah,
you've still got it up.
Yeah, if you're looking in your video, in the top left of your corner of your video is your hand up.
No, I can't see that on mine, so it doesn't appear on mine, which is helpful. No, reactions is no good.
Yeah, if you take your...
Yes, it is. Yeah, go to reactions and then it should say lower hand along the bar at the bottom.
It's gone down now.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You'll also notice as well when people putting their hands up, they were moving around. There you go. Deborah is now at the top left on my screen because her hand is up.
Yes, because I'm on my tablet.
Yep.
You got your hand up, Deborah, because I can't. No hands appeared on my screen so far, so that's helpful.
No. You have to go into participants.
I have to go into participants.
So go into participants.
Oh, I can see. Oh, yes. So you've got your hand up, Tim, haven't you? And you've got your hand up.
Yes, it's a sample. So you stay in participants if you want to know how many people are putting their hands up.
Yeah. But mine is in more. 3 little dots and more on my iPad.
And it says
iPad, raise hand and so but it's the same thing. Yeah, that's fine. Brian does it all the time.
Okay. Right. So
John, sorry, you've been very patient there.
Oh, Paul's put Put a aghast-faced up.
Oh dear.
That's down.
I really didn't mean to. I was in the reactions, and actually there's no hand signals in there, but there was that face, but I got nothing on my screen, so apologies for that. That was completely accidental, and I shall disappear again now.
No problem. But honestly, this is what happens with old people and technology. I mean, honestly.
Well, enough of the old. Some of us are quite young.
Okay.
John's
At
got a
least.
virtual hand up.
Right, John.
Yes, thank you. I decided I'd put my hand up in a traditional way because I actually had a point. No, I felt absolutely correct. This, as Tim said earlier, and indeed yourself, Chair, this rather goes with the idea of having timed segments so that then, yes, to manage the meeting and understand how many people want to talk within, say, 10 minutes. If you've got 5 hands, then you've got a clear understanding. But also, yes, agree with Tim, maybe 10, could be 15 minutes given that little session before our full council next time round, with maybe either myself, Hazel or others putting a message out to all councillors as to precisely how to do it, and then we better show manually at the time. So yeah, we'll make a point, Joanna, of doing that, an early get together for the next one. Yeah.
If
it's any help, I can take some screenshots so I can show people where to do, and we can put almost a dummy's guide together.
That would be worthwhile. That would be worthwhile.
So
that'd be tremendous. Through you, Chair. Yeah.
Okay, well, I think I feel another motion coming on. So.
Oh dear.
Sounds ominous.
Well, I think we're all in agreement about the use of hand signals,
Yes.
aren't we? Shall we recommend the use of hand signals? Are we just going to do it at full council or for
all meetings?
All meetings.
All meetings, yeah. And it's hand symbols.
Hand symbols.
Hand
yes,
symbols.
Not signals.
Yeah.
That would be a tad unfortunate.
To indicate whether councillors wish to speak on a particular agenda item.
I'll second that.
Tim.
No, I was going to second it, but Simon's done it. It's fine.
Okay. So and Hazel, you got that down. Are you happy with that?
Yeah, I've got to recommend to full council the use of hand symbols to indicate you wish to speak on an agenda item.
Okay. Lovely. So all those in favour?
Carried. Thank you very much. Unanimous.
On the dog.
Yeah, apologies, that's Daisy.
Right, 6.4. To discuss and agree to recommend terms of...
No, 6 point... Sorry, Chair.
6.3. Sorry. Thank you.
Where's it gone?
Yeah, I ticked it off too soon. To discuss and agree to recommend the policy in connection with the use of SPC lanyards for councillors and staff. Okay. Does anybody want to kick off on that one? Tim?
I was just thinking perhaps this is for John to
start.
Kick it off, perhaps.
Well, yes, okay, through you, Chair. Thank you. Well, this had been brought up a few times, so I thought an opportunity to put it on this agenda as to whether we think it worthwhile to have a policy connected with the use of lanyards in the first instance. If we did, where it might sit, and as I suggested in my email when I sent out the information, that might be difficult to easily sit in another policy document, although Steve had suggested maybe the health and safety. But of course, if we did that, then we'd have to update the health and safety policy anyway in certain other respects. I also mentioned that maybe if we were considering councillor use of lanyards, it ought to be staff use of lanyards as well, certainly staff at the Steyning Centre, or when with contractors or consultants or what have you. Certainly that might assist in some respects. Also, you know, we are looking at staff uniforms. We have other things that we give to contractors, like tabards with, you know, our name on the back. So maybe there could be good, bad, or indifferent times that these should be used, or we could specify that when they ought to be used. That might be useful. I'm just putting it out there as an item. Also, I suggested that this might be one that we take to working practices, because effectively it is a policy, and it's a policy in the making rather than, you know, just an add-on necessarily. So, I mean, it could be nothing at all, or it could be quite a big area, but really wanted you to decide in the first instance where you wanted it to go.
My first reaction is, do we really need another policy? But Tim.
Well, I'm in agreement. I have to say I'm not aware of a policy at Horsham for our lanyard use, but I will go and check it out. And I just can't really see the point of it. But perhaps John could elucidate and just explain why we think it's necessary at all.
Simon, I can see you. Did you want to speak?
Yeah.
John comes back.
The only thing I was going to say is really, I think it's more about when the lanyards shouldn't be used. Because, I mean, do we want somebody walking down the high street with a lanyard on as if they're as if they're dealing with council delegated responsibility on the high street or in public, when actually they haven't been? I think that's more the worry than anything else. I mean, it's public perception, isn't it? What the public think. If you're walking around with a lanyard and it's got SPC, makes it very official. Now, if that person isn't officially operating, should they be wearing it?
I can't really see anybody doing that, to be honest. And I suppose my thought, I will come to you, Joanna, and to John. I think my thoughts are that they're only really useful at official functions, either at full council meetings when we're in person, so that if you mingle with the public, they know who you are. And I know we usefully used them when we were at the neighbourhood plan presentation for the public. So we didn't have the lanyards we've got now, but we just had name badges, which I think was helpful. Anyway, that's just what I think. So, John, I'll let you come back first, and I'll go to Joanna.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, often policies are put in place to curb misuse or inappropriate use, that sort of thing, and certainly that would cover this. But it's another one of those. We could just say, well, you know, there's got to be an element of trust here, and in most circumstances, people are aware of what to do and how to use things. And of course, when I distribute lanyards or even put on the lanyard itself, I might just put a small note suggesting when they could be used, as opposed to, as you say, another policy. So there are ways and means. I'd like to think that really there is an element of trust, and we do trust individuals, both employees, councillors, and even contractors, if there's needs be to give them a lanyard for whatever reason, that they do use them appropriately, and that they don't need everything explaining to them. But you know, that's just why I put it out there. Thanks,
John. Joanna.
I would just really to sort of reiterate what Tim had said, and you, Chris. I'm very reluctant for us to write yet another policy. We have lanyards at work. Pretty much every organisation I've ever worked for had lanyards, because we had to have identification badges, and there was no policy around it. You just hope and assume that people will behave like adults, and really and truly, you wear it only when you're on the appropriate business. And I think were someone, and I think it's very unlikely, but were someone to, I don't know, let's say I had a funny half hour and decided to march down the high street wearing my lanyard and go into Truffles and sort of wave it around. I don't think anyone would take me particularly seriously, and B, we already know as a council that we have mechanisms in place to deal with that. If somebody doesn't have delegated authority and they behave as if they do, then that can be dealt with. But I don't think it would ever happen. I think writing a policy just on the off chance that once every 10 years somebody might do something they shouldn't do is really not a terribly good use of anyone's time. I think we just have the lanyards. John can tell people when it is and is not appropriate to wear them, and we just get on with it.
Tim, I'm going to let you come back if you're very quick.
No, I'm going to stick to the 2-minute thing, and once only.
Okay. I quite like, John, your idea of maybe putting it on the, did you say putting it on the back?
Yes.
Yeah, on the back of the lanyard. Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, through you, Chair. At the moment, I've got contact details on the back, but I can do a little additional sentence saying, to be used for whatever reason. Yeah.
In conjunction with official business or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So, good. We're not going to have a policy. So, do I need to do anything about that now, or should we just minute that we have decided to trust and expect everybody to use them as appropriate?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
We can do that. No problem.
And maybe just add the sentence that you'll put some instructions for us poor old things on the back so that we use them properly. Okay,
perfect. Thank you very much, everyone.
Okay, so now we get to 6.4 and to 6, which I think probably we would best be to move into confidential for those three. Does anybody object to that? Tim?
No, I don't object to it. I did when this came up on the agenda, I did suggest to John and to you, Chair, that I didn't think there was anything harmful in 6.4, but it's entirely up to you.
Okay, well, we can discuss that now before we go into confidential for the last two items. Yeah?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So 6.4 was to discuss and agree to recommend terms of reference to ensure contractors / consultants can only be contacted by councillors and staff with delegated responsibility to do so. And I think this was mindful of not incurring unnecessary expense to the council. Joanna?
It's a question more than anything else. Just rereading it again. And John, if I can ask you, Chris, to John, does this not already effectively exist? I don't know. This is why it's a question, but are our financial regulations or wherever this would sit under not already clear that councillors and staff can only engage in these things if they have delegated responsibility to do so?
I've got a feeling it might be in scheme of delegation.
Okay, I'll let Tim go first.
No, go on, John, go.
Well, it's just, it had been brought up, and it was whether we needed to be more specific. It's not that specific within finance regs, and it's whether we wanted to add a line in there because of the mere fact that as the initial contact itself, if we got an hourly rate of whatever it is, £20, 60, 80, and even if you're getting in contact with someone, you might feel it to be okay, that 15 minutes might cost us £15, and you need really delegated authority before you spend council money. So it was just to maybe either clarify the message even more, that yes, you are meant to have delegated authority before you contact people, but that really there is a financial aspect to this as well. Again, it's not absolutely necessary because I think we could be assumed that we are covered, but people may argue there have been one or two instances where there have been costs incurred, and it's whether there needs to be another reference point in terms of our policies, just to say that maybe we oughtn't to do that and point that out in that way.
Thank you, John. Tim?
Thank you, Chair. Personally, I don't think it would harm to perhaps add clarity to whichever policy we felt was appropriate, because I think it's very important that we understand, and correct me if I'm wrong here, John, but councillors cannot be delegated to take on a particular task. Is that correct? Only you can be delegated to do that.
Yeah, it should be through the clerk. Yes, certainly.
Yes,
sorry, you can.
No, go on. So basically what I'm trying to say is that we need to be absolutely crystal clear that when we set up a contractor, whether that be HR type of contractor, whether that be a lawyer, whether that be a consultant for, I don't know, another type of a neighbourhood plan, whatever that might be, that everything is done through the committee. The committee chairman, vice chairman have no rights to go directly to that consultant advisor and cost the council money without referring it to the committee first and getting their approval to do so. That's how I feel about it. And therefore, then we won't have any of the issues that may have cropped up in the past.
Okay, Simon?
Is there no way we can flip this on its head almost and almost turn around to contractors, consultants, etc., and say they should only, and we will only pay when it is a contact via the committee that is delegated to deal with it?
Thank you, Simon. John?
Yeah, thanks, Simon. The trouble is you can't rely on that. We could stipulate that. That might be in terms of reference in terms of how we ran that particular consultation or whatever, but we can't rely on them to police the situation, because how do they know for certain who's been delegated at a certain time to do whatever? That would rather hinder and impinge upon the service that they could provide. I think really that needs to be down to ourselves to police. But thanks anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was only going, can I make a suggestion that perhaps we put this to the working party, perhaps?
Yeah, that
either a working party of this committee or the working practices, whichever the committee feels appropriate.
I don't know, anybody? John?
Could I make a suggestion then? Because it's policy related, I would say working practices, because then they can go directly from there to full council if needs be, and whilst they're dealing with other policies, rather than it go to a working party and then maybe come back to here with a recommendation. It could take forever. I'm not saying it's a very high priority issue, but certainly I'm sure we can slot it into a working practices. Yeah.
I mean, it shouldn't take awfully long, should it, to agree? No. Okay. Yeah. No, I think that's a good idea. Does that need a motion?
Yep.
It will do. Yeah.
Yeah, because we're taking it there. So yeah.
Okay, Hazel. Hope you've got your pen at the ready.
Yeah.
So we're going to ask the Working Practices Committee to look further into, I don't know, I'm struggling here. Can somebody help?
Terms of reference to ensure contractors or consultants can only be contacted by councillors or staff with delegated responsibility. Pretty much the lines that are on the agenda. Yeah.
That's it.
Okay, that sounds good.
I'll second it.
Nope.
Or Tim, I've seconded everything so far.
Yes, I
Deborah's
put
hand
my
was up
hand up
before
to
everyone.
second it.
Deborah
Well,
can do it.
Yeah, perhaps Deborah then could second it and Tim could propose it, maybe.
Yes,
Yep.
I'm quite happy to propose that.
Thank you.
We need to vote, please.
We need to vote.
Yeah. All those in
Yep.
favour?
Thank you, unanimous, everyone.
Okay, so I think now we're ready to move into confidential
We
section.
have to vote on moving into confidential.
We do.
Yes.
Yeah. So therefore, I'll propose that we do for item 6.5 and 6.6.
Do you need to read out the word, the verbiage?
Oh,
Under
I
the public
do.
body
I
submission
do.
to
Hang on,
meeting.
I just need to put the light on. I can't read anything in the dark. Okay. Okay, so it's to resolve under the Public Bodies Admissions to Meetings Act 1960 in accordance with Standing Orders 3D to exclude the press and public on the grounds that the confidential matters to be discussed under item 6, specifically 6.5 and 6.6, may involve disclosure of personal or privileged information which would be inappropriate to put in the public domain. So
You're proposing, I'm guessing. I'll
I am
second.
proposing that.
Seconded by Simon.
Thank you. And all those in favour?
Unanimous, thank you.
Thank you.